Alright, today I'm going to show you how to start using ActionScript to make what you want to make in Flash, rather than just finding on some of the other tutorials on YouTube. They just give you how to do one specific thing, and they don't really teach you how to use the ActionScript to make what you want to make. So I'm actually going to show you how the individual ActionScript works, rather than just typing it in the panels and just showing you what happens. I'm actually going to show you how to use it. So let's begin. First thing you'll probably want to know is probably frame actions. You want to know how to make something like a button that when you press it will take you to the next frame. So the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to make some kind of start screen, so you can actually press a button to take you to the next frame. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to make another frame here, just so we can move from one frame to the other. First thing we're going to do, go into the actions frame, you're just going to type in stop, open parentheses, close parentheses, and semicolon. That's just the basic term for trying to tell the program, just make it stop on that frame, and it won't go, it won't keep going. So that way you have all the time in the world. You can just sit there and it'll never go into the next frame. But when you press a button that we're going to put the code in to make it go to the next frame, it will. So first thing we're going to do is make our button. I'm just going to make some random basic button. Just a red square here. Going to convert it to a symbol. Make it a button. Going to call it next. Now, there's a couple things you can apply actions to in Flash. You can make buttons have actions, you can have movie clips have actions, and you can have frames have actions, but not graphics. Graphics are only for when you want to make something move. That's the only time you're ever going to use graphics. Graphics you can't go inside them and put different things inside the frames inside of them. That's why you use movie clips, because A, you can put animations within them, and B, you can apply actions to them. So movie clips are always what you're going to be using when you're making something like a game. So we'll make this, when you press this button, we want to make it go to this frame. So the first thing we want is, when we press this button, we don't want it to go to the next frame, and then since it's the last frame in the animation, immediately go back to frame 1. So we're also going to put a stop code here, just so that it won't just keep running. Every time you press the button, it won't play this frame, then go back to this frame immediately. That would be bad. One more thing I forgot. You should probably change your frame rate to something higher than 12. 18 is as low as I'd go. I prefer 24. For a game where you're trying to make something move, I highly suggest 36. It is very high, it works very well. Alright, so the code for making this button. Oh, and make sure, when you click on the frame in the background or up here in the timeline, it'll say actions frame. Make sure that you type the stop there, or it's not going to work. We want to apply actions to the button now. So we're going to click the button, and you can see it just switches to actions button. So what we want to make this button do is play the next frame. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to use a button action, which is simply on, and then parentheses. You can see we have press here and release. Press is as soon as you click on it. Release is if you click it and hold it, it won't do whatever you want it to do until you let go. I prefer release. It's a very multi-purpose thing, so you can type it there or just double click it in the suggestions and we'll type it there. Parentheses, and then 2 curly brackets, and then inside those curly brackets we are going to put play, and then 2 parentheses, semicolon. So all I did was on release, so when I click it and then I release it, it'll play in the timeline. So it'll play, it'll get to this frame, and it'll stop, because there's a stop action. Alright, now, most of the time, if you want to make it look cool, you can go in here, make different keyframes, so F6, just to get all those keyframes there. If you don't know what these are, up is what happens before you do anything. Over is when your mouse goes over the button. Down is when you actually click the button. And hit is the area. So pretty much you just hit F6 and they just leave the hit keyframe like it is. Unless you want to make the button react, like say if you wanted to make it react in two places, if you clicked it here or if you clicked something else over here. Just stick with the same hit for right now. Let's see now. One thing I like to do is use alpha, and alpha is nice because it's kind of like makes it see-through. If you put something alpha over something else, you can see through it to the next object. So something you'll commonly see is here's the up, here's the over. We're going to make this a graphic because you have to make it a graphic to make it alpha. We're just